After 53 years of silence, the path to the moon is finally reopening. The shadows of Apollo are fading into a new dawn. 4 humans are about to leave the safety of Earth's grip. This isn't just a flight, it's a generational leap into the dark. A commander, a pilot. Space is a premium. For 10 days, this pressurized metal shell is their entire world. There is no room for error or personal space. Standing taller than the Statue of Liberty, the SLS is a beast of burden. It weighs 5 million pounds, mostly pure explosive energy. These engines are veterans of the shuttle era, repurposed for a mission they were never meant to fly. Old steel, new purpose. 8 million pounds of thrust ignite at once. It's a violent chemical scream that tears through the atmosphere at 3 times gravity. Imagine a lead weight sitting on your chest, making every breath a battle. The vibration rattles bones and tests every bolt in the hull. In just 2 minutes, the boosters fall away. The roar softens, but the climb continues into the thinning veil of our atmosphere. Sudden silence. Gravity vanishes. The thin blue line of home becomes a fragile memory as the void finally takes hold. They aren't headed for the moon just yet. First, they must prove that this machine and the humans inside can actually survive the journey. This is where Artemis II breaks the mold. This isn't a computer-driven ride. Wiseman and Glover are taking the stick to fly Orion manually. They practice proximity operations, maneuvering the spacecraft with surgical precision. They are proving that humans can still pilot. Deep into the dark, the ESM is the ship's heartbeat. It provides the power, the air, and the water. Without this engine, Orion is just a metal coffin. Every valve and every wire is scrutinized. Once they ignite the engine for the moon, there is no turning back, no rescue is coming. The crew prepares for the trans-lunar injection. One final massive engine burn that will hurl them across 250,000 miles of empty space. This is the point of no return. Momentum becomes their master as they break free from Earth's gravity and commit to the lunar path. All right, suits off. Let's get comfortable as they settle in. The reality of their living space hits. 4 adults, 10 days. And only enough room to stretch their arms. Home is if shrinking. They time it right. Ahead, a cold, gray world waits. The long coast through the graveyard of space has officially begun. Forget luxury lunch on Artemis II is lukewarm macaroni squeezed out of a bag. Every crumb is a threat that could clog the air filters. There is no kitchen, no table, and no fridge. You warm your meal on a tiny plate and eat while drifting in a metal tube. The bathroom is a coat closet with a curtain. No gravity means every gram of waste must be suction bagged and sealed for the trip home. Hygiene is a battle of wet wipes and dry shampoo. You swallow your toothpaste or spit it into a cloth. Privacy is a luxury they cannot afford. Sleep comes in shifts. Strapped to the walls like cargo without a down or up. You drift in a hammock while the machine hums around you. Your bones begin to melt the moment you leave Earth. 30 minutes of daily bone crushing. Resistance is the only way to stay strong enough to walk again. Outside, the temperature swings from freezing shadows to blistering sun inside. Fans roar constantly, scrubbing the poison of their own breath from the air. Conversations happen with a delay. You say "I love you" and wait 2 seconds for the echo. It's a quiet reminder of how far you've really gone. 4 days in the target looms large. The moon is no longer a light in the sky. It's a massive ancient desert rising to meet them. They are crossing into the unknown. No human eyes have seen this hidden face of the moon in person since the winter of 1972. As they swing behind the moon, the Earth vanishes, radio signals cut out for 30 minutes. They are the most isolated humans in history. This is the far side, a rugged, battered landscape that never faces home. No GPS, no Houston. Just the hum of life support in the dark. Beyond Earth's magnetic shield, space is a shooting gallery of invisible particles. Galactic cosmic rays are passing through the hull and their bodies. If a solar storm hits, there is no bunker we hunty wonder water year to rise. Using our supplies as a makeshift shield against the sun. They aren't just tourists. Every photo and every sensor reading is a map for the next crew, the ones who will actually step onto the dust. They are traveling farther from Earth than any human ever has, over 230,000 miles from the nearest hospital, or a breath of air. Everything you've ever known, every war, every love, every city is now small enough to be hidden behind your outstretched thumb. The flyby is over. Using the moon's gravity like a slingshot, they begin the long, lonely fall back toward the world they left behind. The journey home takes 5 days. The adrenaline of the moon fades into the quiet routine of a long-distance commute through the stars. But a shadow hangs over the return, a secret held in the charred remains of the last test flight. Will the shield hold this time? Behind the smiles there's a haunting engineering secret. The last time this shield came home, it didn't just burn, it fractured in ways no one expected. Trapped gases exploded from within the shield, blowing off chunks of protection. For Artemis II, the mission depends on a gamble of trajectory. All right, helmets on. Lock them down. They've seen the photos. They've sat through the briefings. Now, they are locking their helmets, betting their lives that the math is finally right. The lifeline is cut, the service module is gone, leaving 4 humans in a blunt-nosed cone, hurtling toward the atmosphere at Mach 32. There is no skip this time. No bouncing off the air to cool down. It's a one-way, high-speed dive into a wall of superheated gas. 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, half the temperature of the sun's surface, is now just inches away from their seats. The shield begins to bleed. Gravity returns with a vengeance. Their bodies weigh 8 times their normal mass, crushing their lungs. As the atmosphere tries to stop them, black out the plasma envelope around the craft, cuts all communication. For several minutes the crew of Artemis II exists only in the silence of heat. The screaming stops, the fire dies. But they are still falling faster than a bullet. The first silk ribbons reach out to grab the sky. Then the main shoots bloom like flowers in the desert. The violence of space travel is replaced by the gentle drift of a homecoming. Below them, the Pacific waits. 10 days of isolation are about to end with a heavy metallic kiss against the ocean swells. Splashdown is a collision, not a landing. The integrity has survived the fire, and now it must survive the freezing salt of the sea. Their inner ears are screaming. After 10 days of floating, the weight of their own heads feels like a crushing burden. Gravity is back. On the horizon, the cavalry arrives. A high-tech recovery fleet moves in to pull 4 modern explorers from their floating minivan. The aft shield is scarred and blackened, a testament to the 3,000 degrees it just endured to keep these 4 souls alive. The seal breaks for the first time in 240 hours. They breathe air that wasn't recycled through a machine. Their legs are weak, but their legacy is solid. They have proven that the road to the stars is open, once again, for all of humanity. 685,000 miles. A journey that pushed the limits of engineering and the bravery of the human spirit. They didn't just go to the moon. They opened the door for the next generation to stay there, to build there, and to dream further. Artemis II was the bet, and because it held, the moon is no longer a distant memory. It is once again our future. Before they touched the stars, they had to master the water. Years of grueling underwater training taught them how to move when gravity disappears. The centrifuge is a brutal teacher. It mimics the crushing weight of launch, pushing their hearts and lungs to the absolute breaking point. They are scientists as much as pilots. Learning to identify lunar geology from orbit requires months of studying the gray, jagged bones of the moon. They've spent thousands of hours in the simulator, fighting every possible disaster. And you don't rise to a bus. A training copy I lost her. Go train, this is it. Aerobatic flights gave them a taste of the weightless dance. It looks like fun, but it's a vital lesson in how the body betrays its balance. Survival training took them to the most isolated corners of Earth. If they land off course, they must be ready to survive the wilderness alone. While the crew trained their bodies, thousands of engineers built their sanctuary. Every weld and every bolt is a promise kept to the fore. Inside, the heat shield is a mosaic of protection. Each tile was hand-inspected, a silent shield meant to face the fury of 5,000 degrees. There is a quiet moment before every launch. A final look at the machine that will either make them legends or ghosts. Now, the training is over, the simulations are gone. Every breath they take is a testament to the years of preparation. That LED here, beneath the metal, is a digital ghost. Millions of lines of code are making thousands of decisions every second to keep the crew alive. This is a glass cockpit no more. Hundreds of heavy mechanical switches. One wrong tap on a screen could change their course forever. They are tethered to Earth by invisible threads of radio waves. Giant ears on the ground listen for the heartbeat of a ship thousands of miles away. If the computers fail, they go back to the basics, using the ancient stars as their map, just like the sailors of the old world once did. Navigation in deep space is a game of light and shadow. The glare of the sun can blind sensors, making every docking maneuver a tense gamble. Behind the 4 astronauts is an army of thousands, watching every heartbeat, every amp of power, and every drop of oxygen from a world away. Everything is recorded, every mistake, and every triumph. If something goes wrong, this small box will be the only witness to their story. A few seconds too long, and they miss the Earth. A few seconds too short, and they are lost to the void. Precision is the only law here. In the middle of the high-tech tension, there is human warmth. This bond is the most important system on the entire spacecraft. They are now at the lowest point of their lunar orbit, so close they could almost touch the dust. Yet miles of vacuum stand in the way. Artemis II is the scout after them. A permanent station will wait in the moon's embrace, a gateway to the rest of the solar system. Because these for proved Orion is safe. The next crew will do what hasn't been done since 1972. They will leave footprints in the ancient dust. We aren't just visiting anymore. We are moving and turning the moon into a laboratory, a fuel station, and a second home for our species. The moon is the practice ground. The ultimate goal is further, a 7-month journey across the deep dark to the red sands of Mars. We go to the moon to find water, to find fuel, and to find the answers to how life began on our own blue marble. The technology being tested today on Artemis II is the DNA of the ships that will eventually carry humans to another planet. Somewhere out there, the first person to walk on Mars is sitting in a classroom right now, watching these 4 heroes blaze the trail. Exploration is a relay race. One generation builds the ladder, the next one climbs it. Today, the ladder reaches the moon. When they look up at night, they won't just see a light. They'll see a place where they lived, breathed, and dared to be the first to return. This is the Artemis generation. We are going back to stay. And this 10-day gamble was the moment it all truly began. This isn't just a NASA mission, it's a handshake between nations. For the first time, the whole world is pulling in the same direction, upward. Initiating functional test. Power input nominal confirmed. Voltage is stable from the heart of Europe. Every bolt is a symbol of global trust. This is the Sea of Tranquility, where the first astronauts landed, a Canadian on a moon mission. This journey belongs to every dreamer. Across the Pacific, eyes are wide open. Coordination happens in real time, bridging time zones to ensure for lives stay safe in the vacuum. The logistics of the moon are a global puzzle, moving pieces across oceans and continents just to fit them into one perfect pressurized circle. The torch has been passed. The wisdom of those who walked the moon 50 years ago is now fueling the minds of those who will live there. Vitesse orbitale confirmée. 10.5 kilometers. Built by Airbus, powered by NASA, and flown by a global crew. This is what humanity looks like when we stop fighting and start exploring. From the brightest cities to the most remote villages, the story of Artemis II is a shared human heartbeat. We are all passengers on this flight. They are 4 people, but they carry the hopes of 8 billion. They are our eyes in the dark, and our bridge to the future. In the void, even a grain of dust is a bullet, traveling at thousands of miles per hour. Micrometeoroids are constant, silent threats to the hull. Temperature is a war of extremes. One side of the ship is baking at 250 degrees, while the other is freezing. In the absolute shadows of space, a pin-sized hole could drain their life in minutes. The crew lives by the pressure gauge, listening for the hiss that shouldn't be there. Solar flares are unpredictable. A massive burst from the sun could fry the ship's electronics, or sicken the crew before they even reach the moon. Oxygen is their most precious currency. Every breath is recycled, scrubbed, and measured. In deep space, there is no such thing as free air. To leave Earth, they must pierce the radiation belts, a gauntlet of high-energy particles that dance around our planet's magnetic heart. The windows are multi-layered shields. They are the only thing between the crew's eyes and a vacuum that would boil their blood instantly. Fluids are enemies in 0G. A stray drop of water in the wrong circuit could end the mission. Cleanliness isn't just a habit, it's survival. Like a planet, the ship must spin to survive. This barbecue rule ensures that no part of the spacecraft melts or freezes in the cosmic glare. Beyond the air, the stars are steady and cold. They are a beautiful reminder that space is not empty. It's a place that demands total respect. Beyond the physics and the fire, there is the mind. To be hundreds of thousands of miles from any other human is a weight no gym can train for. Alright, fruit time. Who's first, me? Thanks, I need this. Careful, that's our last bag trying, we have each other. The hum. It never stops, a constant mechanical reminder that you are living inside a machine. That is the only thing keeping death at bay. Small comforts become anchors. A crumpled photo or recorded voice note is the only bridge back to the gravity and green grass of home. Sensory deprivation is real. No smell of rain, no wind on your skin, no change in light, just the sterile metallic scent of recycled air. To see something alive in the dead of space is a spiritual experience. A single green leaf becomes a symbol of the entire planet they left behind. Virtual reality isn't a game here. It's medicine. It's a temporary escape from the claustrophobia of the metal walls and the endless night. Routine is the shield against madness. You stick to the plan, you check the boxes, and you keep your mind busy so the silence doesn't speak. Then, they aren't just a crew, they are a brotherhood of the void. And that bond is the strongest material on the entire spacecraft. In space, an alarm isn't a suggestion. It's a call to war. You have seconds to diagnose the ghost in the machine before it becomes a catastrophe. A slow leak is the silent killer. You can't see it, and you can't smell it. You have to hunt the sound of escaping air, like a predator in the dark. Fire in zero-G doesn't rise. It stays in a ball of heat. In a pressurized oxygen-rich cabin, a single spark is a countdown to an explosion. If the air turns toxic, you don't have time to hold your breath. You mask up, isolate the fault, and fight to keep the atmosphere from turning into poison. When the computers freeze, the mission goes manual. Old-school mechanical valves and levers are the final line of defense against the digital failure. Space is a shooting gallery of old satellite junk. A piece of metal the size of a coin can punch through the hull like a hot knife through butter. There is no 911 in deep space. If a crewmate gets sick or injured, the pilot becomes the surgeon, and the cabin becomes an emergency room. This is the Apollo 13 backup plan. If the main engine fails, you use the moon's own gravity to pull you home. It's a long cold wait for a second chance. Every astronaut hopes they never have to use the abort system, but they train for it until it becomes muscle memory, faster than a heartbeat. The crisis passes, but the tension remains. In space, safety isn't a state of being. It's a result of constant, unyielding vigilance. The crew are living sensors. The radiation data they collect will help us build better shields, not just for space, but for cancer treatments on Earth. Living with limited water in a capsule. This technology is already being used to bring clean water to the driest places on our planet. Space food isn't just pouches. The lessons learned in keeping a crew fed in a vacuum are teaching us how to grow food in the harshest climates on Earth. Deep space medicine requires remote expertise. The delay in communication with Orion, and AI-driven healthcare for everyone. Testing high-efficiency solar wings on Orion is a step towards space-based solar power, clean, limitless energy, harvested from the sun and beamed to our homes. Look at these cracks, the stress is uneven. Yeah, and this burn-through is worse from re-entry heat. A design flaw. But it's a lesson for us and Minister Jesus. Who will follow? From fireproof fabrics to ultra-strong alloys, the materials developed for the moon mission eventually end up in our cars, our clothes, and our buildings. Exploring the moon helps us understand Earth's past. By looking at the lunar surface, we learn about the history of our own planet's climate and evolution. The greatest science of Artemis is inspiration. It's the proof that when we work together, no distance is too great and no challenge is too hard. We go to the moon to look back at the Earth from here. We see a world without borders, a world that is worth every risk we take to protect it. The mission is almost over, but the most dangerous part remains. They are about to fall out of the sky and challenge the laws of physics one last time. That thin blue line is the only thing standing between the crew and the infinite cold. It is their gateway, and it is their greatest enemy. 10 days ago they left as explorers. Now, they return as messengers. They carry the data, the dreams, and the future of a planet on their shoulders. The gamble is in its final seconds. The shield is holding the math was right, and the fire is finally surrendering to the cooling air of Earth. Peace after the storm. The silence of the descent is broken only by the whistling wind. The hunters have come home from the lunar hills. Impact 600,000 miles later. The journey ends exactly where life on Earth began, in the cradle of the deep blue ocean. They are weak, they are tired, and they are dizzy, but they are alive, and in their eyes, you can see the reflection of a world they will never view the same way again. The gap is closed, the 53-year wait is over. We are no longer a species that used to go to the moon. We are a species that goes to. Artemis II was just the beginning. Tomorrow we build, tomorrow we land, tomorrow we stay, because the stars were never meant to be just watched.